Shri M.V. Rajiv Gouda, Professor Rajiv Gouda.
Thank you, Vice Chairman, sir. Sir, in theory, the Vivad Se Vishwas Bill aims to achieve certain good goals. It wants to reduce the number of pending tax disputes. It wants to enable the government to increase its revenues. And certainly, it will help taxpayers get on with their business without being diverted by tax litigation cases. Along with other actions that the government has taken, changing the limits before they can go to appeal, etc., these all are aimed at reducing litigation. But frankly, sir, if you want to reduce litigation, you should not look at the destination, what happens in the courts. You should look at the origin. And the origin lies of the problem lies in the way the tax administration is functioning and how the law has got more complicated over time. Further, there's tremendous discretion given to IT authorities, and the use or misuse of that discretion is what is resulting in litigation. And so this is an example of a band-aid solution to a larger problem that is festering. So, reports indicate that there are various kinds of appeals pending before various judicial forums, before the Commissioner of IT Appeals, about 62,000 cases, before the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal, 10,000 cases, Dispute Resolution Panel, a couple of hundred cases, High Courts, nearly 7,000 cases, and in the Supreme Court, about 427 cases. So, all of these add up to a number which is a little below the 9 lakh crores that the Minister just mentioned. However, that I will not dispute that, but I'm basically raising this point. So this is all the theory. In practice, what does this bill do? Frankly, it sets up very, very perverse incentives. It has very significant flaws and ultimately demonstrates the bankruptcy of this government's approach to the economy. Let me explain. First of all, this is a hastily brought about piece of legislation. Normally, such schemes would have been part of the finance bill. That has been the practice in the past. But clearly, this bill was not prepared at the time the finance bill was prepared. And my impression is that the bill that came out at the time of the budget and what is now in front of us is materially different. So there's some significant, very, very quick and hasty action that's going on. So this is all action that is being taken in haste to plug that extraordinary fiscal deficit because the economy has been sinking and the government is not able to raise revenues in traditional ways. So the other part of this haste is the fact that 31st March is the date by which all these disputants have to agree to go ahead and settle under the Vivad Se Vishwas bill. So that is about 2 weeks from today. We still have to get the president's assent, etc. The rules are yet to be framed. In such a situation, how do you expect people to be able to go out there and make a considered decision based on what has actually come out of Parliament? In the middle of all this, the Central Board of Direct Taxes has come out with a very detailed circular about more than 2 weeks ago. So how can the Central Board of Direct Taxes issue a circular on a bill that has not yet become an act? And in that case, is it a breach of privilege of Parliament? That is one of the questions that I would want to ask you. I would urge the Minister and the government to extend this unconditional cutoff at least till June 30th, so that there's some amount of time for people who are disputants to actually consider what emanates from both houses and then take a very, very reasonable set of actions. So, after all this activity, we will not even be addressing the root causes of litigation because these are all just one-time settlements and the actual issues in law which have caused these disputes, those are not being resolved. There's nothing that is being set as a precedent at the end of this process which will ensure that litigation will not occur as a result of this law. So, another big, major concern that I think a large number of taxpayers are concerned about is about tax terrorism. The very, very high impractical tax collection targets and collection-based incentives which are given to the tax officials and that is actually putting pressure or to go out there and file cases across the board, whether a case is reasonable or not. And that is something that continues under this bill as we see it. The scheme essentially is taking all those tax officers who filed possibly frivolous cases and giving them a chance to escape the act, they essentially get a clean sheet because their frivolous activity, which has resulted in litigation, is now just going to be resolved through settlement. So, in Karnataka, we had the very, very tragic case of the entrepreneur behind Cafe Coffee Day, Vijay Siddhartha, who committed suicide, and in his note, his tragic suicide note, he said that that was a result of harassment by income tax authorities. So this is something that is really damaging the economy of India and certainly has taken a very, very high toll in the state which the finance minister and I both represent. So, in spite of all this concern about tax terrorism, what we have is a circular issued by the CBDT to officers, which basically sets a target of 100% compliance under the Vivad Se Vishwas scheme. And on top of this, it says that the performance of officers in meeting this target will be used in their appraisals, in their annual performance appraisals, and in determining their future postings. If you're going to put a gun to the heads of income tax officers, they are going to in turn point the gun at taxpayers. And this is a matter of grave concern, and I urge the finance minister to change the ethos of tax collection because there are large numbers of people who want to adhere to the rules and principles of the tax system, and what you're doing in this, through these kinds of measures is really vitiating the atmosphere substantially. So, the other point is that the expectation on the part of the minister and the government is extremely optimistic. The Standing Committee on Finance, the Comptroller and Auditor General, they've both estimated that the amount of taxes that are due, which would be recovered, are just 1 to 2%, while the rest are, according to them, superficial demands. So how much of this sir, I've been told I had 14 minutes. Huh?
No. Total 13 minutes to your party. 13 minutes to your party, 8 minutes consumed.
Sir, 2 minutes दीजिए, पूरा करूँगा. Yeah. I was told 1, that's why, but please. So yeah, another statistic, sir, 85% of direct tax appeals are filed by the IT department itself. But the department success at the highest is at 20%. So why would people want to settle if they have a better chance at litigation? Further, this basically says all or nothing. Even if there are some parts of cases which are worth pursuing, you're basically saying, don't pursue that, just settle here and get on with life. So the finance minister talked about the, that's my impression, that she talked about the Sabka Vishwas scheme. So there, only small taxpayers were the bulk of people who actually went out there and settled. The large number of cases which involve large taxpayers, those were not settled. So overall, when you create these kinds of programs, you are sending a signal to taxpayers. You're creating something called moral hazard. They know that we will fight, and then tomorrow or day after, the government will come up with a law like this, which will allow them to settle and in one shot. This creates an inequality, sir. People who have filed cases 20 years ago, people who have filed cases 1 year ago or had cases filed against them, they all get away with just paying this whatever the 30% or something like that, and ensuring that all the interest and penalties and all that are waived. So that is actually an incentive for further litigation. That's the moral hazard that's created. So the bigger problem here is that during demonetization, we warned that this is a fair and lovely scheme that basically you're converting black to white. And that's exactly what's going on here. All of those people who were targeted because of the money that they illegally deposited, they are also going to get away with just the 30% tax, and that's the end of the story. So what happened to this desire, to the government's desire to go after black money and its roots? That is not clear at all. Finally, sir, the ambit of the bill, when it says direct taxes, what about wealth tax? What about gift tax? Those are also under the ambit? That's not clear at all. So overall, all I can say is, unfortunately, this is just one more of the government's desperate attempts to increase its poor direct tax collections. The budget numbers in terms of estimates, 18.3%, they expect a growth target of personal income tax collection, and the actual tax collection between March and December last year was only 5.1%. So, this is all examples of the government's inability to do its basic job, and therefore it's with a great amount of sadness that I say, okay, go ahead with this, but unfortunately this does not reflect well on the government or the state of the economy.
Thank you. Shri Ashwani.